Joining me now from the Alzheimer's Society of Lanark Leeds in Grenville, I'm talking with Sean McFadden, who happens to be the Education and Support Coordinator. So welcome to the program. Nice to see you. We're going to be talking about dementia and more about what it's like to live with it, and just a few questions that I have because I don't really know the answers. So you're going to be supplying a lot of the answers. So what is the common behavior of people with dementia? Like what is it often exhibited? How do you identify a person with dementia? Let me put it that way.
Right. So the first thing I would say is we have to remember that everybody with a cognitive issue, maybe before we even have a diagnosis of dementia, everybody that's out there is a different person.
Right.
So that simply means that they will act and behave differently from the next guy.
Okay. All right. Yes. Now, when you're saying that they would react or be different, meaning that something within their day-to-day living has changed within themselves that is noticeable.
Right.
I don't know if I explained that right, but did I?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's certainly going to be noticeable to the people around them.
Yes.
So their loved ones.
Yes.
And in the early days, we might not even call them a caregiver. Right. So it's your husband or wife or family that are noticing slight changes within their loved one that they're wondering, okay, this is different.
Okay.
Personality changes are noticeable. If we're looking at Alzheimer's in particular, you'll probably see some short-term memory issues, right?
Oh, all right.
So that simply means that in the short term, the day-to-day things, they're forgetting the things that they should retain. And of course, that's noticeable.
All right. So something like putting on a shirt the correct way as opposed to the buttons in the back if it's a button shirt, right?
So in the early stages of living with a dementia, and I should point out that all dementias look different, you know.
All right.
Alzheimer's by far is the most prevalent though.
Okay.
So if we focus on that one in particular,
all right.
In the early days, short-term memory issues we're going to see, but the rest of their world is going to be ticking along pretty normal. If you're having a person that's having some troubles with their activities of daily living, such as getting dressed,
yes,
that would be a farther along
a further
issue.
Stage down the road.
Further down the road.
Okay.
Where they might need some assistance or guidance on how to dress properly or what to wear, that type of thing.
I see. Okay. I was just like going right for the gusto. I was right out there, right? I'm too far ahead of you. Okay, so we're talking about behavior. We're talking about dementia. What are some of the strange behaviors?
Right.
I know things like being upset.
Yep.
Whereby they've never really, they're easygoing, but all of a sudden something just irks them and they get upset fast.
Right. So a statement about all dementias, there's many different dementias.
Yes, there is.
Look different.
Okay.
In the early days, some of the behaviors that you might see might be the person just acting more quiet because they know something's off on the inside.
Okay.
And maybe they're not talking about it, but they're more quiet. They may be more moody. And the people around them are noticing this and they're wondering, okay, what's up? That could lead to situations where they get into where they do become overwhelmed. And overwhelmed is a word that you can apply to a lot of the different dementias in different ways, of course. But it all boils down to the person being able to take whatever it is they're dealing with, and then it overwhelms them, and then you see this responsive behavior.
Yes.
And we call it a responsive behavior because there's a reason why the behavior is there.
Right.
So it's a response to something. So trigger, they get triggered.
Yes.
They get overwhelmed.
Yes.
And then you're going to hear about it.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Not unlike the rest of us.
Of course. When we get overwhelmed, we let it all out. What are some of the things that we should never say to somebody? Something like, don't correct them. If you know that they're having an issue and they they have been diagnosed. We're now on further stage.
Yep.
They have been diagnosed. Would it really, really upset the person if you corrected them, as opposed, for instance, picking up like a spoon instead of a fork? They're used to eating with a fork, their
Right.
main meal, as opposed to a spoon. Would you say to them, my dear, you usually use your fork. Why are you using a spoon?
Right. Well, that would put them on the spot. And that right there could overwhelm them. And then you see they're upset, frustrated.
Okay.
Embarrassment is a big one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because if we correct the person, we're not necessarily being helpful. We could be in a situation where people are going to notice. And so I correct them so we get through this touchy point.
Yes, yes.
And the person picks up on that, and they can become embarrassed. They can become frustrated with themselves. I should have known better. Of course, I know that.
Yeah.
They can get angry at themselves. We also have to be careful of when we do seek to correct somebody, that we do it in the proper way. And that may depend on the person. But we have a lot of folks with communication issues, right?
Mm-hmm,
so they act differently or say the wrong thing, but they have it correct on the inside.
Okay.
So if we don't know that, then we can say and do a lot of things that really hurts the person.
Right.
And they can't let us know what we just did.
Right, right. Okay, so there's like a language.
Language issues.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
lots of different things.
Things like arguing. Don't argue with a person that has dementia, right?
Right. So in Alzheimer's in particular, the person believes what they believe to be 100% accurate.
Okay.
Right? So, which simply means that there's no point. I can't change their mind.
No.
And that boils down to the ability to reason. Right? So a healthy person can reason. I can listen to your side of it, may not like it,
right.
but I'll put it all together and maybe I'll agree with you. But a person with dementia believes what they believe 100%, and they do not reason very well, right? So there isn't any point of going down that road. So we can let it pass. In most cases, it's not even a big deal.
No.
But we get tripped up on little things that happen, and we're like to correct it.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
It's very, very true. Yeah, like what does it matter if you're wearing two different socks? They don't match. Does it really, really matter? The main thing is they're wearing socks. They're going to keep their feet warm.
Right.
So the heck with the color. The progression of dementia. Because there's so many different types out there, does it depend on what it is that you have as to how it progresses?
Simple answer is yes.
Okay.
There's well over 100 different dementias that are out there.
All right.
The good part is we don't see most of those dementias, but we see Alzheimer's, and like I say, it's the most prevalent.
Right. Yeah.
But how the disease moves or progresses through the brain is different because each person's brain is laid out differently, right? So if you're talking speed, progression as quickness or speed, everyone is going to be different.
Okay.
We find that people that are brilliant people, their brains are laid out in such a way that that's why they became brilliant. Things just flowed.
Yes.
But there is some research that's saying if that person got dementia, it would travel quickly through them because all the pathways and the networks are laid out very well.
Oh.
The person that didn't go far in school, always struggled, had roadblocks, dementia doesn't move as quickly because of those roadblocks.
That's interesting.
It is interesting.
Whoa. Okay. Is there a magic pill out there to stop dementia?
No. We do have medications that we use that the goals are to slow down the progression. Not everybody can take them for various reasons.
Yes.
Most are heart-related reasons.
Okay.
But we do have good success with them. So I would always encourage somebody to investigate whether they can take these medications. But we certainly can't call them the magic pill.
Because they're not. They're not going to stop it.
They're not going to stop it.
No.
You might have success by slowing things down. And that's a good thing. But as of yet, no magic pill.
Research. Where do we sit on research for well, let's take Alzheimer's. Where do we sit with research on Alzheimer's?
Well, there's a lot of research out there. I always explain to people that it's coming from many different angles. And that is a good thing because we don't have all our eggs in one basket.
Right, yeah.
A lot of the research, they take it to a point, they do trials, clinical trials, and then they discover that they don't work. Mm-hmm. They don't pass the trial. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that line of research gets thrown away, but we have so many other ones that we can pick up. The biggest area of research right now would be on midlife.
Midlife.
Healthy living for folks in midlife.
Okay.
Because at that point, we have the option to change our road that we go down to when we get to the senior age.
Yes, yes.
And a lot of emphasis on that.
Okay.
Vascular dementia, there's a lot that can be done with limiting vascular risk factors. Mm-hmm. So that's very promising. And we also want to educate the young kids to learn about what healthy eating is, how to live well from those early ages, so it becomes part of their just normal lifestyle.
Yes.
As they get older. Mm-hmm. Now, if we have seniors, we're not talking midlife anymore, but we still want to implement all the good information, the good changes that can be done, mm-hmm. because they still will benefit from it, even though they're at that senior age.
Right, right. Okay. I'm with you. That's good. If people want to, as well as there's I think the walk is coming up very, very soon, is it not?
Yes, end of this month.
Okay, where are the walks?
Well, we have 2 this year, Smith Falls and Gananoque.
Okay.
If we have people that are interested in being part of that. Mm-hmm. Now, the walk is mostly around fundraising.
Yes.
Because we need money to run our programs.
Right.
But it's also awareness. Mm-hmm. And it's caregivers, families coming together to support each other, and everybody else that's involved is, of course, supporting them.
Yes.
The best way to get involved, if people are interested, is to simply call our office, and we will provide you with guidance on where to go and paperwork that you might want.
Is there anything else that you want our viewers to know about, anything that we've talked about here today?
Well, it is a topic that you could talk for hours on.
Oh, yes, definitely.
If somebody is watching and they're saying, you know, I find this interesting, or I may be dealing with this issue and I don't know quite yet, or I'm right in the middle of this issue and I need support,
yes.
Please reach out,
yeah.
and help you,
right,
to have a better quality of life for everybody involved.
I agree, and you've got so many programs and knowledge that it can help people. So, you know, don't sit at home, be embarrassed, call.
Absolutely, and it's not the type of issue that we have a lot of time to waste.
No.
Right. So let's get moving.
Okay. Thanks, Sean, for coming in and sitting down with me. It's always a pleasure. I always learn something.